Hi, it's Teresa, and I'm very excited today to give my book review on Conscious Loving by Gay Hendricks and his lovely wife, Kathleen Hendricks. I am familiar with their work. Over 20 years ago, read another book by this couple called Conscious Living and really found it super uh, revelational in my life and really enjoyed it. So I actually, when this was on the reading list, I thought perhaps I'd actually already read it. But after rereading it, I don't think that I had, but I definitely think this is an amazing read. I think everybody should read this book. I think it has so much great information, and the way it's presented and the examples that they provide in the book are so useful and so relatable. I saw myself in so many areas in this book, and I just really had a lot of aha moments. I don't know if I could even share all of them because there were just so many. I just really liked the way the book is laid out. It's really clear. It follows a great, I wouldn't say a formula, but just the way it's organized. It's very linear, and it really takes you through how to have a conscious, loving relationship, really kind of from step one. And a lot of that is first examining yourself and some of the things and patterns and beliefs or behaviors that you bring to the relationship that may be detrimental, in addition to then using the information that they have at looking at your partner and helping them explore some of those things. So I'm going to sort of cheat a little bit. I've got my laptop open here to look at the questions, and I've got notes down below me and the book to kind of refer to help me answer these questions. So the first question, what realizations or important points did I learn? I mean, I just really learned that one, we all have so much in common just as human beings, that this book is written for literally everybody on the planet, and that all of us have fallen into the relationship traps, like the 9 traps of unconscious loving. I mean, those resonated with me, specifically trap 4, and to recognize how I've like dated the same guy over and over again, different name, different face, but because he is that personality type keeps showing up in my life, because I have to heal that relationship with one of my parents. That's definitely an aha moment, and that certainly will make me more conscious for the next relationship. But really, all of the unconscious traps and all of the things they talk about, like how people end up in different relationships. It was just really an aha moment. And I really loved the 7 steps to co-commitment. I think they are important in any relationship, whether it's romantic or business or a friendship. I think they're all really critical. The only thing that a little bit I found a bit frustrating was that if you're in a relationship with somebody and they don't also adopt to live, a conscious, loving relationship and abide by the commitments, then where are you left in that relationship? That's a bit of a struggle if you're the only person who's willing to do the work and commit to the commitments, and that you are really, telling your microscopic truth and keeping your agreements and everything. I think that's frustrating. I think being consciously loving and following the commitments, even if your partner doesn't, I think would probably still make the relationship better, but it really would take 2 people to make it a really good relationship. And I think that if you're not in a relationship with somebody who's willing to do the work and make the commitment, then I guess at some point you have to decide, I can't be in this relationship with this person anymore. So that's, to me, I found that a bit frustrating, that it's a co-commitment, right? That's like sort of the definition of co-commitment. You both have to be committed. So I found that just a little, just like a little tarnish on the silver there, just like, because you can't force anybody to do anything against their will, and you can't force somebody to be on the same spiritual journey or personal growth or self-development journey with you. So that was a bit tough. That's kind of a big pill to swallow, that you may be with somebody who isn't willing to do the work, and then you have to make a decision if you're going to continue that relationship. I think what would I integrate into my life? I mean, certainly keeping your agreements. If you tell somebody you're going to do something, which I feel like I've already always lived that way, but really important. And I think also choosing to be in relationships, even friendships with people who always keep their agreements and their commitments. And um, I think these commitments really apply to all relationships, and they're really the foundation of what's going to make any kind of relationship healthy and successful. And there are things to always work towards. None of us are going to be perfect every day, but there are things to work for. And um, you know, they're the kinds of things you need to just like put up on your refrigerator, on your bathroom mirror, so that you're reminded them every day, because you are going to forget, and they're important. I really liked the new way of resolving conflict. So many of us, we never learn that as children. Our parents probably aren't good at resolving conflict with each other or with children, and everything, and life is full of conflict. So I really appreciated the method of resolving conflict, and that would certainly be something I would apply to my life. I'm not currently in a relationship, so a lot of these things I sort of have to wait to put into practice, other than with friendships. With friends, I certainly practice some of these things, but I look forward to being able to put these principles in play when I'm in a relationship. I think the other really big aha moment I had that I really recognize in my life is the upper limit to happiness. That at some point, all of us have decided that we can only be this happy, or for this long, or this successful in life, or have this much money, and this is it, and we can't break through that. And I definitely recognize that in myself. Things of self-sabotage, and I've certainly recognized it in relationships with my partner, previous partner, who would create an argument after 3 days, just like, oh, just every 3 days. And it was because I see now that he reached his upper limit to happiness, and probably didn't feel that he could be happier than that, or deserve happiness beyond that level, and then would throw a wrench in our relationship. So I definitely recognized, um, you know, what caused issues in previous relationships by looking at this book, and looking at the traps, and looking at, where the co-commitments and everything were not, I mean, weren't aware of them, so weren't keeping them, but certainly how that affects a relationship. Okay, I'm just kind of reading the questions here. So, I think I identified what I found was the most challenging, is that if you don't have a partner who's willing to co-commit with you and do these things, then that's going to be really frustrating and difficult. What patterns or opportunities has it highlighted for you? Well, I think I've already addressed that already. Just noticing my past relationships, and how I've seemed to have dated the same person over and over again, and just looking at the upper limits in myself and in partners, certainly, and how that affects my overall growth. Well, now that I recognize that I have a self-imposed limit to happiness, or abundance, or joy, or anything, or any success, any area of my life, I can now look at that and figure out, where does that come from? Who did that come from? And how do I clear that? And how do I break through that? And how do I allow myself to have more, and not self-sabotage, or not limit myself in any way? And I mean, for me, that was really the best thing I learned in this book, was the upper limit to happiness. Let's see. How could this book inform your practice as a breath worker? Well, I think that as a breath worker, I mean, you have to keep these commitments to your clients. You have to be truthful. You have to keep your agreements. You have to have integrity. So I think all of the co-commitments really apply to any relationship, and would certainly apply to any clients that I would work with. And I think that just there's so many good questions in this book that Gay and Kathleen would ask their clients, that they address in here. That if one of my clients during a breathwork session were struggling with a strong emotion, or anger, or something, or felt like they were having a block, I feel like there's a lot of great questions in here that I could use to help them get through that. And I also think that the, conflict resolution part of this helps, even if there isn't necessarily a conflict, but if there's just sort of a block, like if there's just some sort of block and it's asking, helping, guiding somebody through investigating where do they think that block is, and also sharing with people the co-commitments. And the co-commitments could be a theme, or the intention or the inspiration. And you could do a series of breath works that each week builds on the principles in this book, and as a way to share this information and to help people look a little deeper within themselves and in their relationships and see, how they're holding themselves back. Because I think that's why people come to breath work. They have blocks in their lives. They're looking to feel better. And at the end of the day, it's like we have to look at, all the areas in our lives where we might feel a block or we might need to release something. And so I think this book would be a great tool to use as inspiration and breath work, and just using the conflict resolution and the co-commitments just as a breath worker, as a facilitator, to hold me to a certain degree of integrity when working with clients. So I really enjoyed this book. I read it twice. After another, I recommended this to so many friends who I know have had struggles in their relationships, and really recommended this to them because I really think it could help anybody if they're, in challenging relationships, or even such as myself. I'm looking to create a relationship in my life, and now that I have this book, I feel that this has given me tools that my next relationship will not repeat previous patterns, and I will be able to have a more successful, loving, conscious relationship going forward. Not only romantically, but also just with friends and coworkers and any clients, anybody that I meet in life. So, an amazing book. Definitely, everybody should read this. And it's just too bad I didn't like to read this in high school or something like that. It's a great book. So I'm really grateful that this was on the reading list, and really enjoyed the book. So thanks for putting it on the reading list.